Oh, today's video is, it's gonna be a great one. I'm currently working on a couple of bigger videos. So in the meantime, I thought, why don't I just let somebody do the hard work for me, create their own content, and then I react to their content. That's right. Today, I'm looking at a Bleacher Report article that was published today, as of the time I'm recording this, at least. I do not know the contents of this article. I only know what it's about. I saw it posted on my Twitter timeline. Five NBA players that are going to be requesting a trade soon. That's the article. I'm interested. I can just tell by the fucking thumbnail where this thing is headed, and I don't like it already. Now, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Bleacher Report writers, because I don't think they have an easy job. They're constantly posting their hot takes, their mock trades, and they relentlessly get shit on for it. And listen, I've been on Bleacher Report myself several times, and anytime I live stream over on Bleacher Report, the chat is always full of, who the hell is this guy? I hate this guy. This guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Get him out of here. So, hey, I understand. I sympathize with Bleacher Report writers. I know what it feels like to get constantly dragged on that platform. But today, the tables turn, and we're going to be the ones doing the dragging, all right? Predicting the next wave of NBA stars to request a trade, written by our guy, Zach Buckley. What up, Z? What up, Big Zach? Big Zachariah? I don't know who this man is, but I'm hoping that, you know, he does me solid here in this article. Again, judging by the thumbnail, I'm not going to fucking like it. Here we go. The astronomical map of NBA stars is constantly being redrawn. That's due in part to a perpetually changing ranks of both falling and rising stars. Okay, yada, yada, yada. Let's get to the good stuff. Okay, yeah. There it is. The first one, Luka Doncic, Dallas Mavericks. You son of a bitch. You just don't get it, do you? You just don't. I knew from the thumbnail Luka would be on here. Okay, actually, I'm going to save him for last. I don't want to do Luka's first. I'll save him for last. Next up, Joel Embiid, Philadelphia 76ers. Yeah, we saw this coming. This was obviously going to be on here as well. A couple days ago, Joel Embiid made the comment that he just wants to win a championship, whether it's in Philadelphia or elsewhere. I'm actually working on a video right now, just doing a bit of a deep dive in Joel Embiid's postseason career and why maybe he should look a little inward rather than outward when it comes to sharing the blame for the postseason success, or should I say lack of success, the Philadelphia 76ers have achieved over the past couple of seasons. While it doesn't automatically mean Embiid is crafting an exit strategy, it at least puts pressure on the front office already feeling the heat of Harden's trade demand. If nothing else, it should silence any talk about next season being a gap year for the franchise. I agree with this. I think all signs are pointing towards an exit being likelier than not for Joel Embiid in the next coming season, just because the Sixers went for it. They swung. They had their huge home run swing going out and getting James Harden, and they fucking missed. And now they are suffering the terrible consequences of getting in the James Harden business. And it's crazy because you look at that 2019 team. Kawhi Leonard hits that insane shot right in Game 7 to send the Toronto Raptors to the conference finals and eventually the finals, where they won their first ring in franchise history. That Sixers team was good, man. Embiid, they traded for Jimmy Butler early in the season. They traded for Tobias Harris. Ben Simmons looked like a legit guy, although he already had his his concerns in the postseason, but he still looked like a legit defensive player of the year level player. Embiid looked like the rising star of the league, and it's just all been downhill since then. They've been to 2 Game 7s in the second round since, but they've lost in embarrassing fashion in both, and now Harden wants out. The team that he wants to go to in the Clippers, they don't have any real interesting trade pieces for the 76ers that are really going to help them get over the hump, and if they lose Harden, they definitely are getting over the hump. Embiid's been a consistent disappointment in the playoffs and can never stay healthy. And by the time the next postseason starts, he'll be 30 years old. Like, that's something that does not get talked about. By the time next postseason rolls around, Embiid will be in his fucking 30s. That's insane to think about. I don't know. If the 76ers flame out again this year and Embiid is on the team entering 2024, I'll be shocked. I will be completely and totally shocked. Next up is Zach LaVine. All right, a bit of a step down just in terms of, stars. Is Zach LaVine even a star? I don't know. That term gets tossed around incredibly loosely. I don't know if I would label Zach LaVine as a star, but I'm a bit of a hater when it comes to that. I think there's only like 20 stars in the league, realistically speaking. So whatever, that's a conversation for a different day. I will say this. I think a lot of people underappreciate how good Zach LaVine is. I know that contract is a little ghastly. The knee injuries are all a little bit concerning, but he was really good last year, especially like in the back half of the season. Post All-Star break, he averaged 27 points per game on 64% true shooting, shot 39% from three, and like 6 attempts per game. He was really hooping in the back half of that season. And if I were a team looking to, add some talent to my roster, yeah, Zach LaVine could be an interesting piece, but that contract is crazy. The injuries are a little bit concerning. I just don't know what his value would be. Like, does it make sense for the Bulls to trade LaVine right now? It makes much more sense to trade DeRozan, right? But is DeRozan's value going to be high? I don't know. That Chicago team is a complete and total mess. LaVine requesting out, yeah, I guess I could see it. What his market would be, I don't know. That's an interesting question. Karl-Anthony Towns of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Listen, if I'm Minnesota's front office, Cat walks into my building and says, hey guys, I want out. Guess what? I'm hitting the fucking phones. I'm calling every GM in the league. Guys, it's official. Cat wants out. Go ahead and send me your trade packages and we'll get something cooking immediately. It's a blessing in disguise. And I know that sounds harsh. That sounds mean. But if I'm Minnesota, I'm looking for ways to get out of this contract before it becomes horribly bad. And part of me feels like Minnesota bringing back Naz Reid at that number sort of indicates that they think they might be moving on from a center in the near future. And while I could see it being Gobert, it's much more likely it's Cat because the contract is just insane. It's time to hand the keys of the franchise to Anthony Edwards. And the postseason performance from Karl-Anthony Towns, I just want out. While there's still some perceived value there, I want out. Let's listen to the contract over the next, how many fucking seasons is that? Over the next 5 seasons. $36 million this upcoming season. All right, not bad, whatever. Half the NBA is making that number, it feels like. 49 in 2024-25. 53 in 25-26. 57, 26-27. And then a player option for $61 million for Karl-Anthony Towns. Yeah, if you request a trade, hey, buddy, where do you want to go? We'll happily help. He's another player where it's like, what is his value? I saw in another Bleacher Report article a few days ago an absolute batshit insane mock trade where Cat goes to the Rockets and the Timberwolves get, I don't even remember the exact trade, but I know it included Amin Thompson. I know it included Kevin Porter Jr. I know it included like 4 first-round picks. That is absolutely bonkers. There is no way that is Karl-Anthony Towns' value. Absolutely none. I'd be shocked, actually, if they get like real legit positive assets in return. And if I'm a GM, I'm looking at Cat's offseason and some of his remarks. I know this is going to sound stupid, but I'm being dead serious. I'm looking at some of his remarks like, what we did in Minnesota was more impressive than Denver winning a championship. Don't want you. That is loser mentality ass shit. I don't want it anywhere near my franchise. Next one on this list is Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks. If Trae Young gets traded, I do not think it'll be a trade request from Trae. I think it'll be Atlanta looking to move on in a different direction. I just don't know. I don't know if I see Trae requesting a trade. I just don't. Atlanta feels like such a perfect spot for him. You know, he has the keys to the franchise. Culturally, he fits in there like a glove. They absolutely love him. The fans adore him. As it mentions here in the article, Kevin O'Connor reported that the Atlanta Hawks front office had been given the green light to do whatever it wants with the roster, including trading Young, which kind of goes back to what I'm saying. Like, if Trae gets traded, I think it's more of an Atlanta Hawks decision than a Trae Young decision. Trae Young has wanted the last 2 coaches out, and the last 2 coaches have been out. And it's sort of similar to Cat. I think Trae's a better player than Cat, for sure. He's been a better postseason performer than Cat, for sure. But if he hit the market, what's the value? I think it would be kind of shockingly low. $40 million this year, 43 the next, 45 the year after, 48 the year after that. It's a big contract. He's a small guard. Those guys are tough to plug in. Like, those are just tough players to plug into teams, especially if teams already have smaller guards. Like, you could knock at least half of like contending teams out of the equation entirely because they already have small guards in the mix. I don't know. Just can't say I see it. I think Trae Young has become a little underappreciated, a little underrated over the years, but I don't see him requesting a trade. All right, let's circle back to Luka. Let's circle back. Let's see what our boy Zach, Big Z, you bastard. Let's see what he has to say about Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. Back in April, ESPN's Tim McMahon brought word of fear existing within, here we go, the Dallas Mavericks organization that Luka Doncic could consider requesting a trade as soon as the summer of 2024 if Dallas doesn't make significant progress by then. Tim McMahon, I like him. I think he's pretty funny. I enjoy listening to podcasts with him on them. I don't think he's sourced. Like, I'll just say that. I don't think he's very well sourced. I think he has sources in the sense he's around the team a bunch and he's talking to people. around the team. I don't think he's getting direct sources the way Mark Stein does, the way like Tim Cato does, because I think all things point towards the Mavericks not really liking him that much. It's conceivable the 24-year-old may not even wait that long. May not even wait until the summer of 2024? Huh? Since the Mavericks, who didn't even make the play-in tournament this past season, could once again struggle to gain traction in the competitive Western Conference. Oh, our guy Zach is saying Luka might request a trade before the summer of 2024? What? There's no fucking way. Literally none. And I don't think it would matter, by the way. If Luka requested a trade between now and next summer, he's not getting traded. And he shouldn't. It would be the smart move to not do it. Dallas's offseason has been a bit of a mixed bag. Re-signing Kyrie Irving was a must, but anyone claiming to know what Uncle Drew's future holds is being willfully ignorant about his past. Yeah, I guess that's somewhat true. Again, though, it's only a 2-year deal with a player option on the 3rd. So it's not like it's this debilitating 5-year max contract, right? Like, I don't know. The Mavs got Grant Williams on a good deal, but he's more of a helpful role player than a difference maker. Yeah, okay. Signing Seth Curry was puzzling. He's a good player, but this team desperately needed defense, not an undersized scoring guard. They signed him for $5 million fucking dollars, man. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? No, I'm just kidding. Like, what? They didn't trade a first-round pick for him. They didn't throw him $20 million. They gave him $5 million to be Seth Curry. What? How would that push Luka out the door? What is Dallas's plan to enter the championship conversation? The Mavs went 5-11 when Doncic and Irving played together last season, so counting on them alone to figure this out is asking a lot. Can they afford to wait on the growth of Josh Green, Jaden Hardy, Derek Lively II, and Olivier Maxence Prosper? Love you, Max. Or will they trade what little youth they have for established talent? I don't think that's too crazy of a thing to say. You know, I don't know if there's a real legitimate pathway to championship contention this season for the Mavericks, but I think that's okay. I think they've actually set themselves up pretty well to contend moving forward. And even then, we saw this 2 years ago when the Mavericks made it to the Western Conference Finals. You get into the playoffs with a guy like Luka Doncic, guess what? Anything is possible. Anything can happen. That guy's as legit as they come in the postseason. Dallas is in a tough spot, which is where no team with a megastar of Doncic's ilk should ever wind up. Unless you're like one of these mega markets, this is where most fucking teams end up, man. This is where the Milwaukee Bucks currently are, okay? Like, it's just hard. It's hard to build winning teams. The Mavs have rarely resembled a championship contender during his 5-year tenure. They made the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago, okay? I have to say that. They have as many series wins as lottery trips, 2 apiece. They have as many series wins as lottery trips. Oh, my God. That's so disingenuous, dude. One of the lottery trips was Luka's rookie season. You can't, like, come on. That is incredibly disingenuous. And if he can't see their vision coming together, he may soon want out of it entirely. Listen, here's the thing about Luka requesting a trade. It's not impossible. It's certainly a possibility, right? We're talking about the modern NBA. The Mavericks have not done a great job building around him. But I don't think we've seen any real signs that point towards him doing that. Like, it's just rumblings. Again, it's definitely possible. But, like, within the next year, I really, really doubt it. I really doubt it. And some of this feels like a little disingenuous to me, honest to God. They have as many series wins as lottery trips. I mean, 2 series wins for a player who's 23 or 24 years old, I guess, that's not terrible. Like, that's really not. If you compare that to some other guys, some other young, star level players, it's hard to win, especially early on in your career. And having one Western Conference Finals trip under your belt already, that's not too shabby. Like, that's really not too bad. And I'll die on this hill that last season for the Mavericks was just as weird as it got. It was probably the worst case scenario imaginable, considering no mega injuries. And I don't know. I just feel like that's not who this team is. I feel like they'll be better next season just because it's next season. Like, there's going to be some late game luck that's going to go their way when last year it seemed to always go against them. I think the team itself is definitely better than they were a year ago, and they still have room to improve. Like, they still have trade assets. They still have the desire, reportedly, to go and get a center. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely possible Luka requests a trade, but him being like number 1 on this list and it being, as Zach said, conceivable that it could happen before summer of 2024, implying that it could happen between now and the trade deadline, that's fucking nuts. There's no way. Absolutely no way. Zach, I put my faith in you, buddy. I put my faith in you. And you do that to me. Unbelievable. Can't trust anyone nowadays.